We make body image issues worse for 1 in 3 teen girls. Those were Instagram's own words written by their own researchers for their own executives in 2019. And in the year that slide was created, Instagram gained 200 million new users. You were most likely one of them. You open Instagram, you scroll for 3 minutes, you close the app. Nothing happened. Nobody said anything cruel. You didn't read anything upsetting. But something shifted, just slightly, like a light being turned down somewhere in the background. You feel a little worse than you did 3 minutes ago, about your face, your body, your life. You can't explain exactly why. So you put the phone down and get on with your day. That feeling isn't a side effect. It's not a coincidence. There are engineers who know exactly what caused it, exactly how strong it is, and exactly who it hits hardest. We have the documents. And this is what they say. Every time you scroll past a face more attractive than yours, something fires in the brain. It's not exactly a feeling, it's a calculation, automatic, unconscious, done before you've even decided whether to double tap. Am I okay? How do I compare? A psychologist named Leon Festinger identified this in 1954. He found that human beings constantly measure themselves against the people around them. Not because we choose to, but because that's how the brain checks whether we're doing all right. And when the people we compare ourselves to appear to be doing better, looking better, living better, that comparison leaves a mark. Self-esteem drops. Every time. Predictably. He was writing about colleagues comparing salaries. He had no idea what was coming. Instagram's entire feed is built on this mechanism. Every photo on your screen was selected, not by you, but by an algorithm, specifically because it generated strong reactions from people who saw it before you. And the content that generates the strongest reactions, that gets saved, shared, obsessed over, is almost always the same category. People who look better than you think you do. The app is running Festinger's experiment on you. Every single time you open it. Before Frances Haugen resigned from Facebook, she did something that took a particular kind of nerve. She made copies, not of a few files, tens of thousands of internal documents. Research her colleagues had run, conclusions they'd reached, slide decks that had been presented to executives. She copied all of it, walked out of the building, and handed it to the Wall Street Journal. In October 2021, she sat before the United States Senate and told them what was in those documents. What they contained wasn't leaked opinion or disgruntled speculation. It was the company's own research, their own numbers, their own conclusions in their own words. One slide. 32.4% of teenage girls reported that Instagram made their body image worse. 17% said their eating disorders got worse after using the app. 13.5% of teenage girls in the UK said Instagram increased their suicidal ideation. The equivalent number for teenage boys? 6.7%. 1 in 3 girls. 1 in 15 boys. This wasn't an equal harm. The company knew who was being hurt, and by how much. Facebook's response when the Wall Street Journal published the documents was that the research had been misrepresented. They didn't dispute the numbers. They disputed the framing. The platform went on to gain 200 million users. Instagram's algorithm ranks every piece of content by predicted engagement. Likes, comments, saves, shares. The faster a post generates those signals, the wider the algorithm pushes it. That's the whole logic. And appearance-based content, photos of attractive people, body transformations, beauty tutorials, generate some of the highest engagement on the platform. Comment sections fill fast. Save rates climb. The algorithm reads that as approval and amplifies it further. Now add personalization. You engage with one beauty post, one like, one extra second of scrolling, one save. The algorithm flags that. It feeds you more. Over weeks, over months, your Explore page narrows. It stops being a window onto the full range of human existence. It becomes a stream. A curated upward comparison feed, rebuilt every single day around what kept you scrolling longest. And here's what the internal research showed. The content that kept people scrolling longest was also the content making them feel worst about themselves. The company was not unaware of this. It was in the same slide deck. We're halfway through. And the part I haven't told you yet is the part that's hardest to sit with. Because so far, this has all been about what Instagram did. But this story doesn't start with Instagram. It doesn't even start with the internet. And understanding where it starts is the only way to understand where it ends. Instagram didn't invent this. It inherited it. In 1990, Adobe releases Photoshop. Within a decade, every major fashion magazine is using it to alter the bodies of models whose bodies were already selected for being atypical. Waists narrowed, legs extended, skin smoothed into a surface no human face has ever actually had. And then those images go on newsstands, in waiting rooms, on billboards, in the hands of every teenage girl in the country. Here's the thing about all of that, though. A magazine was monthly. A billboard was something you drove past. You could put it down, walk away. There was a natural ceiling to how much of it could reach you in a single day. And the beauty industry knew this was a limitation. They were selling products that only sell when you feel inadequate. The more often you see an unattainable standard, the more inadequate you feel, the more you buy. The exposure was the business model. They just couldn't crack the ceiling. Instagram cracked it. The algorithm reaches you the moment you wake up, before you've spoken to another person, before you've looked in a mirror, before you've had any input at all about what a normal human face looks like today. The platform has already told you. Unlimited exposure, unlimited insecurity at scale. In 2019, a writer named Gia Tolentino publishes a piece in The New Yorker. She calls it the age of Instagram face. Her argument? The algorithm had done something no media format before it had managed to do. It had collapsed all of human beauty into a single template. Not a celebrity's face, something stranger, a composite, high cheekbones, cat-lifted eyes, full lips, small nose, skin with no pores and no visible ancestry, a face that resembles every culture and none at once. The algorithm had found the face that generated the most engagement across the widest audience and fed it back to everyone constantly until it became the reference point, the average, the standard against which every other face was quietly measured. And here's where it ends. A cosmetic surgeon named Paul Banwell notices something changing in his practice around 2018. For most of his career, patients arrive holding photos of celebrities. They want this actress's nose, that model's cheekbones, the era of wanting to look like someone else. Then something shifts. Patients start arriving with photos of themselves, not a celebrity, themselves. The edited version, the face-tuned version, the one with the jaw slightly narrowed, the under-eye shadows erased, the skin texture removed. People used to come to me asking to look like a particular celebrity, Banwell says. Now many patients come wanting to look like the filtered version of themselves. They're sitting in a surgeon's office. They want to be cut open to match a digital image of their own face that no version of their face could ever become. The algorithm had made the real face feel like the broken version. The edited face had become the goal, the standard, the thing you were supposed to be corrected toward. That's the output of the product decision, not a side effect, and an output. That patient in Paul Banwell's office didn't know about the Facebook papers. She didn't know about Festinger's research. She didn't know that somewhere inside Meta, a slide deck had described exactly what would happen to people like her. She just knew that her face felt wrong. In 2019, Facebook's researchers wrote the slide. In 2021, Frances Haugen put it in front of the Senate. In 2023, 41 U.S. state attorneys general filed a coordinated lawsuit against Meta, alleging the company knowingly harmed the people using its products. Meta denied it. The platform kept growing. The question that stays with me isn't whether Instagram is bad for you. It's simpler than that. Someone ran the numbers. Someone read the slide. Someone made a decision. And somewhere in those 200 million users was a person who ended up in a surgeon's office asking to be cut open to match a face that didn't exist. Who decided that was an acceptable outcome? If this changed how you see it, the next video goes further. Links above.